Number 1, start with cooperation, be nice. Number 2, be retaliatory. If your opponent harms you, strike back immediately and teach them. Number 3, after someone harms you, be forgiving and keep playing with them in an honorable way.
September 2025. Now, in videos, my older videos, I've said how civilization, society, peoples have become the snake that eats its own tail. And we see how true that is right now in today's world. And it's becoming worse. And as we see, for example, how more and more facts and truths, perhaps maybe they're two distinct different things, perhaps with some overlap. I'll let you decide that. But as we see facts, we'll call it, coming out about, for example, the so-called convoy of freedom and the fake heroes. And I'll give an example with the so-called convoy, how there are military and political officials doing interviews, openly saying how they were controlling the so-called Canadian convoy thing from the US. And even with these fake heroes, like, for example, Tamara Leach, information coming about them. For example, her ties with certain companies, corporations, and political ties. In fact, and this is where it becomes somewhat perplexing, was she was someone who was criticizing the Canadian government at the time for not doing more, imposing more, and not doing it fast enough. Basically, in a nutshell, very much supporting everything that was being imposed and what many people were opposed to. And we see this coming out now, and how all these groups and everything else are starting to turn on themselves. And we see, for example, how people in various positions of authority, and this could range, for example, from police, judges, politicians, and we'll even include, because they're in positions of authority as well, professors and teachers, and some medical people. We'll just throw that in. And how whatever agenda is being played out, and you're not stopping it, right now in the world, where we have different cultures being forced upon others, and the negative impact that's having, and how there's no success with what may be the marketing campaign of being a strength. We don't see that happening. Now the peoples, the commoner on the bottom, are the first to be impacted by all this, and impacted heavy, and they're the ones that are carrying the brunt of the negativity that's being imposed. However, what we're seeing now, slowly, but over time, short time, it's going to pick up its pace and impact those in various positions of authority. The same way it's impacting the people. Now, people in various positions, whatever example I may have given or others, may say, well, I'm just doing my job, or they may even think that what they're doing is good, which is insanity when you actually look around, but whatever. And they're starting to feel the impact, the negative impact of the very things that they're enforcing. And we're really starting to see how everything is coming to a point where everything is going to implode. And no one's escaping this. The people, the commoner, they're not going to escape it. Those above them are not going to escape it. And perhaps those above them are not going to escape it as well, because it's going to impact everyone. However, the agenda behind it all is happening all around the world simultaneously. And we see how societies and cultures are falling apart because they're having things imposed on them as well. But as I said in my previous video, based on religious beliefs, how there's going to be one state that's going to be the beacon of light for the whole world, because the whole world's going to be a mess, and they're the only ones that are going to be unaffected by the very things that they're pushing on everyone else. And this is the agenda. But there's those above them, and ultimately, and I'm not going to get into the spiritual woo side of life, but ultimately, there are those beyond human that are really playing the game. And this world is the game board. But we're seeing how everything is now getting to that point where no one, regardless of position, title, status, or anything, is going to be exempt from this insane hardship, and their lives are going to be impacted as well. So perhaps this video is really for them to say, hey, whatever you're enforcing for whatever reason is coming now for you, and there's no escape. And by the time they get to the point where the commoner anywhere is now, it's over. Game over. Just want to give you some things to think about. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Death, destruction, mayhem, based on a misunderstanding and just basic tribal racism. And then the local celebrate this and have like an homage to him every year.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.